Your wife was startled by the weight of the divorce. That's the story we're telling today. Enjoy the viewing. Jeff, I'm unhappy. I want a divorce. Although Jeff was somewhat taken aback, he wasn't completely unprepared. They had been married for nearly 2 decades, but lately Darlene had spent a lot of time talking with her friend and so-called marriage counselor Miranda. Miranda's guidance was influenced by her own history, having gone through 3 divorces herself. Jeff, are you listening? I want a divorce. Yes, Dar, I listened, but this is a serious matter that I don't want to answer impulsively. I thought I was as loving and committed a husband as one could be. I believe I was a good father. You haven't mentioned any problems in our private life, so I'm not sure what has changed, but based on what you've said, here's my take. I can't stand the idea that being married to me would deprive you of finding happiness. Even though it breaks my heart, I will support your decision to divorce. However, tell me, is the cause of the divorce recent, or has it been building over time? Darlene replied, yes, it's been gradual. I need some space, some time to explore different avenues, meet other people. The law requires that we be officially separated within 90 days of filing the documents. Ultimately, I might decide not to leave. We might not go through with the divorce. Jeff considered. That's akin to what I've heard from others about their divorces. During the 90-day separation, we can both see other people, and it's not considered cheating. However, in the end, both of us need to agree to stop the divorce. But either of us can continue with the divorce without the other's consent. Jeff realized that Darlene didn't fully understand that he would have the same rights as she would. I thought that if I initiated the divorce first, it would be my choice whether to maintain the marriage or not. Darlene hesitated. Jeff responded, but I don't believe that's accurate, but just in case I'll file too so that we're on equal footing. That seems fair, right? I suppose. Darlene faltered. Are you saying that you want a divorce? Clearly, I was mistaken in thinking I was a suitable spouse, father, and partner. No, I don't desire a divorce, but I won't hinder your future, love. I never said you were lacking. You were a wonderful husband, father, and partner. I just need to try something new and different, spend some time with others. It might help me. I just need some time. Being legally separated will give me that freedom, Darlene. The fact that you want more than I can provide underscores my inadequacies. He stayed silent for a moment, then asked, have you already spoken with a lawyer and filled out the paperwork? She ignored his mention of feeling inadequate. No, I haven't prepared the papers yet. I plan to use J.R. Lewis. He handled Miranda's divorces, so Darlene confirmed where she got the idea to seek more from her marriage. Well, I'll likely ask my cousin Sally to take care of my side of the divorce. Sally the terrible Dar. I know you aren't fond of Sally, but she really is a compassionate person. Her reputation as a fierce attorney stems from her job. She really fights for her clients, regardless of gender. Ironically, after the last family barbecue, likely because she had drunk a bit, Sally offered that if I ever needed a divorce attorney, she would do it for free. Wow, Jeff continued. We have a lot to discuss. I suggest you spend the next 2 weeks preparing for your divorce. This way we can start our separation at the beginning of the month. That sounds reasonable. Maybe I don't understand why we have to do anything before the separation is over, Jeff explained. Well, I think the point of the separation is to see what being divorced feels like so we can decide if we really want to end the marriage. This means the separation period should act, in a sense, as a trial run for what life will be like post-divorce, or we won't learn anything until it's too late. It can get very messy. Does that make sense to you? Perhaps I hadn't fully thought it through before, but Darlene's resolve was waning. I'll tell you what, let's move to the kitchen, grab a notepad, and start laying out everything we need to address. I'll make the coffee with that. Jeff got up from the bed and headed to the kitchen, leaving Darlene pondering. By the time Darlene reached the kitchen, the coffee was already brewing and Jeff was making notes on a notepad. All right, Jeff went on, there's a multitude of things to consider that it's tough to figure out where to start. I believe we ought to tackle the topic of the kids initially. To what are you alluding? Look, we have to clue the kids in on what's going on, and it's crucial that we're unified in the message we convey and make an effort to ensure they don't think our split is because of them. Darlene's anxiety intensified. Both daughters were particularly tender-hearted and might struggle with digesting the grim news. I don't grasp why we must brief them so thoroughly. Can't we simply hold off for 90 days and perhaps it won't be necessary to disclose anything? But dear, what will your response be when they question why Daddy's no longer residing here or why you're absent? We're still their parents. I anticipated you would stay in the home during our separation, and I thought we might both. Occasionally step out without disrupting the kids' routines. I'm not convinced this approach will pan out, Da. For starters, it would require us to coordinate our social plans. One of us may feel slighted if one desires to go on a date some evening and it's inconvenient for the other. We might grow suspicious that one is trying to hinder the other's chances to date. Most crucially, how will you get a sense of what life after divorce is like if you continue as you are now? Furthermore, the kids may get wind or hear from others that we've been spotted with new people. We need to break the news to the girls, but also to all our kin and pals, lest they think we're stepping out on each other. My biggest concern is that, regardless of how we explain this to the kids, they might yet believe they're to blame. It's a sad reality, but from my understanding of child psychology, it's common for children of divorce to feel somewhat culpable. We have to keep reiterating the same narrative and really drive home our love for them. They're remarkable kids, and they'll probably adjust as time goes on, though it may call for some professional therapy. Who knows, they might even come to like having extra grandparents from your new beau and my new girlfriend additional gifts on their birthdays and holidays. Naturally, we'll have to work out the logistics of when and where we celebrate birthdays, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. We're already struggling to coordinate that now with just one set of grandparents. Plus, if I remain in this home, you'll have to rendezvous with your guy at his place or perhaps a classy hotel. It wouldn't be right for us to introduce romantic interests into the home while the other is there with the children. We also have to ponder the financial implications of maintaining two homes. Obviously, this will translate to less disposable income, since we'll tack on the expense of my apartment's rent and utilities atop our existing bills. You're going to have to adapt to handling and financing everything we currently split, and that I personally take care of for the family. Typically, shared assets are divided down the middle, which entails we'll need to shut all joint bank accounts, savings, credit cards, and then proceed with child support and spousal maintenance filings. There's a heap to unravel before the first day. Darlene was speechless, utterly taken aback. Jeff continued, I'll look for an apartment near my job so the girls have a place to sleep when they come over on my visitation days. The standard setup in divorces is for the non-residential parent to have the kids every weekend and alternate major holidays, unless the in-house parent consents to more frequent visits. Jeff, I had assumed you'd be spending time with the girls more frequently given their usual activities like homework, sports, drama, and such. It seems like both you and the kids are really enjoying your time together. Darling, I'll make every effort to be as present in their lives as possible. Nevertheless, you and your new partner should be prepared to take on some of my duties. It's just the reality of our situation. Evening visits might be hard since they'll likely want to be at home on school nights. If I start seeing someone, she may have her own kids, and I'll need to help with their schoolwork and activities. You might have to help your new partner with his kids too. Then there's the matter of managing clothes and personal items across two homes. Getting the kids to school will be complicated if I'm not on their bus route, disrupting their schedule. This is going to be difficult for all of us. It's not unfolding as Miranda had suggested. Darlene had thought Miranda's advice implied her husband would back down at the threat of divorce, continue his family duties, and let her date others discreetly. I'm losing my handle on this, Jeff. I'm overwhelmed. I need some sleep. We'll continue this conversation tomorrow. I'm going back to bed. You're on foot. She had hoped he'd follow her, and she'd be able to persuade him to concede without splitting responsibilities and finances. Sorry, dear, but I've got to write something down before I sleep. My mind's racing. The more we sort out before day one, the better off we'll be. Good night, darling. Darlene hardly managed to sleep. She needed to consult Miranda about Jeff's unforeseen stance. Miranda would have a strategy. This thought finally let her drift off. Waking up to start her day, she noticed Jeff's absence in their bed. Heavens, this man must have stayed up all night planning the divorce logistics, but Jeff was nowhere in the kitchen, just his notepad on the table. She checked the spare room to find her husband deep in slumber. Returning, she started her breakfast amidst the ongoing organization. She glanced at the notepad, listed under items to address. were liabilities mortgage, homeowners insurance, and utilities including gas, water, electricity, cable, cell service, trash, internet security, car payments, car insurance, health insurance, dental insurance, Amazon Prime, LifeLock, LifeFlight, and others. This was on top of the banking changes they'd discussed last night. The following page detailed his anticipated new apartment expenses and a budget for the child support needed to sustain her and the girl's lifestyle. They were short by several $100s monthly. He'd outlined ways to cut costs. Jeff would miss his Waffle House and Starbucks visits, a tough sacrifice. She gave a wry smile, noting her gym, women's group, and eating out more than weekly were also on the chopping block. He'd even accounted for the girl's activity fees, uniforms, and other necessary items. The ramifications for the children hadn't been included in her calculations for the divorce strategy. On a separate sheet he had itemized tasks that would fall to Darlene, such as refueling the car, routine car servicing, summoning a mechanic, a plumber, an HVAC specialist, lawn mowing, car washing, and grocery shopping. She set aside the notepad. Why can't Jeff just comply and provide what I want? I have to call Miranda before Jeff awakens. Hi, Miranda. It's Darlene. We need to keep our voices down. Jeff is asleep right here. How did things unfold last night? Miranda's tone was filled with eagerness, anticipating good news from Darlene. Instead of inquiring how he could amend things to avoid divorce, he agreed to it and started enumerating all the chores he currently manages that I'd need to take on post-divorce. Jeff intends to lease a flat and only look after the kids on weekends. He insists we must truly separate and live as though we are divorced for 90 days to make a more educated decision on whether to proceed with the divorce. He doesn't seem truly daunted by the notion of divorce. What should I do? Nonsense, dear. He's just bluffing. It's all an act. He won't actually sign any binding papers. It's a pity he feels the need to list every small task he does, trying to make you feel more reliant on him than he is on you. Remember, you control the kids and your own body. These are what will keep him in line. His words are just a facade. Don't worry about it. Soon you'll be with Robert, enjoying your time together, and you'll still have a husband and a home. I hope you're right and Robert is worth all this. Well, Jeff hasn't really acted on anything yet. I'll stay strong until I see what his real intentions are. Thanks, Miranda. He's getting up. I have to go. Hey, Jeff, do you want some coffee? Darlene asked, a hint of nervousness in her voice. Her husband shuffled to the coffee machine, remarking, having coffee late wasn't smart. I hardly slept. Why didn't you come to bed? I was restless, second-guessing myself. What do you mean, honey? I saw you sleeping without clothes and I was very tempted. You're still the most beautiful woman I know. I'm afraid I might suggest if you allowed closeness, it would just be a pity intimacy to soothe my anxiety about the divorce. I wasn't sure I could resist, darling. We're still married. I am yours, exclusively yours, until we separate. Can't we act as husband and wife? Until then, I'm sorry, no. I'm more certain than ever that we need to start the separation process immediately, though the formal divorce won't start until the 1st of the month. It really began the moment you said, I'm not happy. It will be tough for me, but I want to see you happy. Even if I'm not a big part of your life anymore, Jeff. You keep forgetting it's just a separation. We don't have to divorce. Just relax. Let me find myself, and I'm sure we'll stay married, and it will be even better than before. I wish I could be sure of that. I've decided to take today off. Billy can handle the maintenance teams, so I can start some preliminary discussions about the split. This won't be official until the 1st of the month, giving us 90 full days to truly experience what being divorced would be like. Incidentally, I'll be withdrawing more funds than usual. You'll need to handle cash until we arrange separate credit and debit cards. Luckily, we both have our own personal checking accounts in addition to the shared one. I'll divide the joint account balance equally into our individual accounts. We should do this promptly to ensure we receive our new cards and checkbooks by the start of next month. This evening, I'll go over what I've done and what you need to do to oversee your portion of the finances. Oh, and you should get moving so you're not late for your job. I'll take care of the kids' breakfast and drop them off at school. Darlene's proficiency as an office manager at a local insurance firm was less than stellar. Robert, ever the charmer with his tall stature, curly dark hair, and a smile that prompted women to hope for a moment of his attention, walked in. He praised Darlene's looks and suggested she was underappreciated, then casually asked when they could next enjoy some beautiful music together. Darlene, feeling a surge of nerves, assured him they could soon find time away from the office, yet today she'd contact him by the elevator later. As he left, her anxiety about drifting away from Jeff was momentarily eclipsed by memories of the intimate elevator encounters with Robert since he started at the office. Coming home from work, Darlene noticed evidence of Jeff's presence during the day. She felt more emotionally fortified to deal with the financial intricacies he had laid out. The plan seemed simple. I have 90 days for a dalliance, we stay married, and then I figure out how to keep things going with Robert discreetly. Sitting at the kitchen table, she revisited her notebook. Jeff had added more items to the list, and then she spotted a new entry titled Potential Women for Today, with 2 columns, one for women who had shown interest and another for those he might inquire about. The lists weren't long, but she was taken aback to see her sister Erica's name among the interested. Armed, Darlene immediately rang her up. "Hey Dar," Erica's voice came through. "How's it going? What's this about you trying to charm my husband? Hold on. What are you talking about?" "Jeff has a list of women who've said they're keen to date him, and you're on it." "I'm clueless about any list, but I did drunkenly tell him once that if he ever wises up and leaves your ungrateful self, I'd be happy to step in." "Hold on, what's this?" "He's flaunting a list of potential dates." "Does this mean there's trouble? Did you catch him, or did he catch you with someone else that's irrelevant?" "I just told him I needed space to pursue new opportunities," Erica cut in. "You're seeking something on the side. Who is he? Or are there multiple?" "No, I haven't slept with anyone yet. Jeff and I will proceed with the 90-day trial separation before determining whether to continue our marriage." "That's fine. You clearly have someone on your mind, but it's of no concern to me." "Are you saying that soon you'll be officially separated, and if someone desires a night with Jeff, you're powerless to stop it? Inform me of the date, and I assure you 1 second past midnight I'll be vying for his attention, making it abundantly clear that I am ready to offer myself to him, and that I am not like you. I will be utterly devoted to him for the rest of his life. You better keep your distance from him, or else what? If you're legally separated, you have no say, and remember, you're the one initiating it. You've always bragged about how dependable he is, what an excellent husband and father he's been, and above all, you've lauded him as an incredible lover, and now you're ready to throw that away. How can you be so reckless? Did you suddenly turn blonde? Like I said, notify me the moment he's free. This will be the first time I'll be grateful for assistance from my big sister." "Goodbye, post-call." Darlene attempted to unwind. Revisiting the list of women didn't help. She noticed Jenny, his secretary, a young single mum, strikingly attractive yet nearly 2 decades Jeff's junior. There she was, listed first, indicating her interest in dating her husband, possibly in search of a stable provider for her and her child. 2 more women were listed, one married, perhaps indicated by the M beside her name. The other 2 were Jeff's co-workers. She recognized several more names. They were locals. Jeff, despite his psychology degree, did a lot of handyman work for neighbors and had built a successful business, now overseeing 3 teams. It seemed he was as observant of the women's behaviors as he was of their household repairs. The list included 3 unnamed women, a waitress from Waffle House, a barista from Starbucks, and a clerk from Walmart. Darlene wondered how many others found Jeff as attractive as Erica did. She hadn't anticipated dating during their separation. Perhaps he already had someone in mind. Jeff entered the home, noticing his wife with the notebook. He had a good idea of the upcoming discussion's topic. "So Jeff, you've wasted no time looking for my replacement. Even my own sister. How could you?" "I'm just trying to match your pace in finding a new companion." "What do you mean?" "I don't have a companion. I'm simply looking to make new acquaintances." "What about Robert Turner? How do you know about Robert Turner? And what will you do about it?" "Today I ran into Sylvia at Walmart, the secretary for your boss, over lunch. She's a notorious gossip. Pay her no mind." A tense silence followed, but Darlene couldn't resist asking, "What exactly did she say?" "Sylvia suggested, from what I understand, that you've become quite friendly with a recent hire, Robert Turner." I must have looked puzzled, because she added, Seeing as he visits your office multiple times daily and you often have lunch together, I questioned Darlene about it. You're aware that our company has strict policies against fraternization among staff, Darlene responded. Robert was a close friend from your college days, and you both often participated in activities together. I'm guessing he's at least one of the candidates you're considering for companionship during our separation. How far has your exploration with him gone? Robert is merely a friend. Our interactions have been nothing more than conversations, but he is someone I might consider dating. He's always so kind and complimentary, even when I don't feel my best. Have you and he done anything that would upset me? As Darlene's mind flashed back to the moment in the elevator, her expression betrayed her secrets. More to the point, have you done anything that his wife would disapprove of? Wife? He's not married. Who told you he was? What kind of person do you think I am? It seems you're not very discerning about the men you're now choosing to see. Let me pull up his Facebook profile. That's where I found the details after a brief search on the computer. Jeff asked, "Is this the Robert Turner you're talking about?" "Yes, that's him." "What does it say about his marital status?" "It says here he's married to Cynthia, and they have 2 boys." Darlene, scrambling for an explanation, suggested that information might be outdated. He could be divorced by now. Check again, the page was updated just 3 days ago. Wouldn't he have mentioned something as significant as his marital status? And look at his wife's latest post. "The boys and I are excited to join Robert after the school year. Johnny and Robert Jr. are stars on their high school baseball team, and they're close to the state championship. The family plans to reunite after the term ends, or maybe later if they make it to the state finals." I had no idea he was married. "I wouldn't want to interfere with someone's marriage. You don't seem too concerned about jeopardizing your own marriage," though silence fell. Darlene knew she was cornered and needed time to think. Robert was a big reason for her wanting the separation, but she couldn't let Jeff know that. "He's just one of many men I might be interested in. I can make a list just like yours." "Oh, I just remembered something crucial. If we decide to reconcile after the separation, we must exchange recent medical reports to confirm we're both STD-free. Now, you're just being disgusting. It's merely a precaution. I hadn't planned on dating because it's only 90 days, but if I desire intimacy, I could easily find a willing woman. I'm sure you'd want the peace of mind as much as I would. Remember, it's not only about us, it's about who else we're involved with, their previous partners, and so on." Jeff struggled to hide his satisfaction with the hardware details while Darlene stewed over her situation. Jeff changed the subject. "All right, Dar, let me update you on what I've prepared for our separation. I have a lot to do, starting with setting up separate banking and credit card accounts. These are the immediate concerns, so you have easy access to your money. We can address the mortgage, bills, the pay, and such in the next week. Oh, and I have some good news about our financial situation. Did I tell you my secretary Jenny is a night manager at the Royal Arms? It's close to my office, and they have a 2-bedroom unit available, but I need to decide quickly. They're usually expensive, but she said I could get a 50% rent reduction if I take on a maintenance role there. This would mean extra funds for you and the kids. You haven't signed any leases yet, have you? We've got 90 days, and you might choose to come back if you play your cards right." She was tempted to make a remark about his secretary's excessive ambition, but she held back, aware that it might only aggravate their delicate situation. "No, I haven't finalized the lease yet, though I've had to explain my reasons for apartment hunting," she replied. It's unusual for leases to be offered monthly, but she was hopeful she could negotiate a 90-day term. When Jenny heard about the impending divorce, she didn't hide her interest in dating me. I was surprised, especially considering our age difference. I told her I was flattered, but had to decline due to company rules against relationships between supervisors and their staff. Jenny then hinted she might look for a secretarial position elsewhere if that was the only barrier. Hence her inclusion on my list. Darlene felt steam rising within her. She bit her tongue, conscious that voicing her thoughts would only exacerbate the tension. Jeff, not waiting for Darlene's reaction, pressed on. "I have more news, something that I think you'll be excited about. I secured 2 tickets for a 10-day Hawaiian getaway. I hesitated to tell you since it was supposed to be a surprise for our 20th anniversary." Darlene's disposition shifted dramatically. "Hawaii? Oh, Jeff, you know that's been my dream. This is incredible. I'm already imagining myself unwinding on the beach, diving into the ocean." Thank you. This means the world to me, yet Jeff's face didn't reflect the joy that Darlene's did. We won't be going to Hawaii. When the topic of divorce came up, I doubted we'd celebrate our 20th. Trying to cancel the trip, I found out I could only get a 20% refund. After pondering, I decided the trip was still a worthwhile dream. I figured you might still want to experience it, so I had the tickets altered for you and a guest of your choosing, to be determined later. It might be an auspicious start to your new life, offering your next partner a prepaid trip to Hawaii. But Jeff, I wanted to experience it with you. We could postpone the separation honestly. I've been reconsidering the whole idea, reflecting on everything. I'm not as dissatisfied as I believed, she offered. I'm sorry, Dar, but I've thought it through thoroughly, and I wouldn't be happy knowing we could backslide into divorce talks, even if you back out now. What you've expressed, your desire for a divorce, can't be unsaid. Nor can I unthink what might have happened between you and Robert during your innocent interactions. I'm inclined to go through with the divorce regardless of your choice, even though the thought of being without you and only seeing our girls part-time is unbearable. With that, Jeff moved to the spare bedroom. Overwhelmed, Darlene knew there was only one person she could turn to: Miranda. She picked up the phone. Hey, Miranda, it's Darlene. How are you? Everything's a mess. Jeff's got an apartment lined up. His skinny secretary is making a play for him, and my own sister's got her eyes on him. And to top it off, he had these anniversary tickets to Hawaii, and now he's handing them to me to use, but he's not coming. He implied I should bring my new boyfriend. What's my next step? Hey, what seems to be troubling you? You and Robert are going to have a fantastic time soaking up the sun, enjoying the fun, and creating memories. No, it turns out Robert is married, and his wife and kids are moving here soon. I can't go with him. I'd rather it be with Jeff. Hold on a second. I'm just piecing everything together. Miranda voiced her disagreement. Wow, Jeff's more cunning than I gave him credit for. He spun a tale about booking the trip long ago, but it was just a ploy to make you feel guilty and stop the divorce. Don't fret with your attractive figure. You'll find someone as good as or even better than Robert in no time, and you can maintain a husband and family too. Oh my goodness, I didn't think he could be so malicious. He's going to regret this. Thanks, Miranda. I was close to caving in. He's definitely going to regret it. Let's catch up later. When Jeff came down, he carried a small suitcase. So you're trying to play the part of someone who's already on his way out. Don't worry, good riddance. Actually, I'm just taking a few things over to the new place so I don't have to do it all at once and scare the girls. Jenny said I could start moving things before the 1st since the apartment is empty. You seem different from the last time we talked. Let me guess, you've been talking to your marriage guru, Miranda. You really should see a marriage counselor if you want to keep the marriage. Miranda is a divorce encourager. That's her track record. Don't try to get a rise out of me by bad-mouthing Miranda. She's on my side. She helped expose your Hawaii ticket ruse. You concocted that whole story just to make me give up. It's not going to work. I still want a divorce, and I can't wait to be free. There are plenty of men out there who want me and can give me what I'm looking for. You're right, at least about the men who want you. I've never doubted that you'd get plenty of attention once you're on the market. I've always felt like the luckiest guy to have such a beautiful woman, a great co-parent, and until recently a faithful wife and companion. You're wrong about the Hawaii trip, though, and I can prove it. Just call Lois Simpson at Flight Right Travel. She's the one who arranged everything. I'll call you Lois. It's Jeff Sinclair again. My wife is on speakerphone with me. Could you explain the trip details to her? Hi, Jeff. I'm really sorry you can't make the trip. It sounded like you wanted to give your wife a wonderful surprise and have a great time. What would you like to know, Mrs. Sinclair? Please tell me what's included in this so-called trip. Darlene insisted. It's our 10-day package to 2 islands, including stays at our top hotels, meals, transport, hula lessons, a luau, tiki dancers, surfing, swimming, dancing, all designed for romance. I've been with my husband a few times, and it's really strengthened our relationship. When did my husband book this trip? Darlene was sure this would reveal the lie. Let's check here. He first inquired 3 months back, chose this package 2 months ago, and completed payment a couple of weeks after that. He called yesterday to cancel and asked for a refund. I felt bad that we could only give back 20%. I was surprised when he said to go ahead and let someone else join you. That speaks volumes about the kind of man he is. Any other questions? You'll need to let me know the other. person's name soon. Actually, I can't finalize the plane tickets until I have that name. No further questions. I'll give you a call with the name soon. Darlene tried to guess what Miranda's reaction would be with this new revelation. After a moment, she had a realization. You think you've tricked me again, right? You must have arranged with Lois to act as if you'd planned this Hawaii trip before any talk of divorce. Well, I'm sharper than that. She felt a sense of pride for figuring it out without Miranda's input. Jeff let out a deep sigh and then suggested, talk to your folks. What do my parents have to do with any of this? Who do you think is going to take care of the girls while we're away? I should call them. Darlene was taken aback. No, there's no need for that. I need a moment to think things over. Too late, Dar. I'm already calling. Jeff retorted, dialing the number. Her mother answered, recognizing the caller ID instantly. Darlene, how are the kids? We're always glad to hear from you. Hello, Mum. Darlene greeted her, a hint of hesitation in her voice. Hi, Mum. Jeff here. We're both on the phone. 1 second, I'll get Dad on the line as well. In the background, they heard her mother call out, Harold, it's Jeff and Darlene calling together. Pick up, dear. What's the matter? Harold joined the call, after a pause from Darlene. Jeff broke the silence. Darlene is in the loop now, so no more secrets, Dad. We're really sorry you can't join us. You didn't give a reason earlier. We hope it's not a health issue. When you said this morning that you wouldn't be able to watch the girls during our Hawaii trip. We were disappointed because we looked forward to spending 10 days with them, and it was hard for Darlene knowing you wouldn't be with her. We understand how much she would value this getaway, but she'd much rather have you there than anyone else. Have you decided who's going to go with her? Maybe one of the kids? It's going to be tough for the one left behind. No, Mum, I haven't made up my mind yet. When did Jeff first mention the Hawaii trip? I can't remember. Harold inquired. Remember? It was around the New Year's, wasn't it? I think it was a couple of months back. He said he wanted to let us know in advance so we could prepare with snacks. The girls can eat so much and still stay slim, interjected Darlene's mother. Is everything all right with you, Darlene? Why the questions about when Jeff last talked to us? Is there trouble between you two? Oh dear! Have you separated? Darlene replied. No, Mum, not quite. We just realized we needed some distance, a pause to reevaluate and possibly come back stronger. Dar, I can't keep things from your parents. They've always been honest with me, Jeff interjected. Mum, Harold, Darlene told me last Sunday she wanted a divorce. A tense silence fell on the other end. Darlene hastily tried to explain that's not exactly true. The first step in getting a divorce is a 90-day trial separation. I wanted that time to find myself, explore new paths, and grow so I can be a better partner and mum. That's my girl, her father declared. I know a fib when I hear one. Darlene, is there someone else? No, Dad, absolutely not, she firmly stated. Jeff opened his mouth to speak but paused. As his wife's weeping was heard, Harold continued, I can't believe you'd consider this. We raised you better than this. I'm so disappointed. Don't expect us to accept someone new. We're sorry, Jeff. Just promise you'll let us see our grandchildren after all this, her father implored. But Darlene, now crying herself, interjected before Jeff could respond. Jeff has blown this out of proportion. I take it back. No divorce, no separation. I'll call you back once things calm down, Jeff observed Darlene, who was now weeping. Pull yourself together. The girls will be home soon, he commented, heading for the door, suitcase in tow. Where are you going? Didn't you listen? I don't want a divorce. There's no need for you to go, Darlene pleaded. You unilaterally decided on a divorce without consulting me. Now you think you can retract it just because it's convenient for you. You don't seem to understand that I have a voice in this too. Given what I've learned about you recently, I'm not sure reversing the divorce is the right move. I'll pick up a sleeping bag from the garage and spend the night at the new place, Jeff stated firmly. Please stay, Jeff. I'm sorry. You were fine with everything before I mentioned divorce. Can't we just forget all this happened and go back to how we were? You said you were happy. I was truly content, but I can't ignore that you confessed to being unhappy in your intentions with Robert. She admitted. As I've said, that's tantamount to infidelity. Sally had mentioned to me that preparing the divorce papers would be a simple task for her, as the terms were standard for a divorce, and she could likely have them ready by the next day. I won't sign them, Darlene declared firmly. That doesn't matter, she just needs to make sure you're served officially. I bet she might do it at your job, so there'll be plenty of witnesses. Maybe even Robert deserves a suit for alienation of affection. Heck, I could sue your employer for violation of workplace policies. but that would be overdoing it. I need you to be financially stable for the girls after the divorce. I know I'll just talk to Robert's wife, that ought to be enough to get back at him. Why so? Severe, I love you. And you love me. Can I do anything to make amends? You said a divorce would be hard on us both. Don't you want to avoid that pain? I swear I'll drop all this divorce talk, please. Let's stay together and work it out. Darlene's tears flowed. Jeff stood still and quiet. Marlene could tell she had reached him. I promise to be the best wife. I'll never look at another man again. I've given you nearly 2 decades of a good marriage, 2 amazing children, supported your business, even when it meant late, dirty nights for you. I'm truly proud of what you've achieved. We all make mistakes. Just give me one more chance, please. After a pause, Jeff said, here's what I'll do. I'll go ahead and take my suitcase and sleeping bag to my place. I want you to write some things down. Your actions and words have hurt me more deeply than you know. If your written responses are adequate, I'll think about calling off, or at least postponing the divorce. I'll be back at 7, maybe have the kids at their grandparents' or a friend so we can talk openly. Yes, thank you. What should I write first? I want an apology for starting this mess, and I want you to beg for forgiveness, not just ask, but truly plead for my forgiveness. Then, tell Robert to stop all communication with you. Threats? What will you tell your husband if he doesn't stop? Let him know I can sue him and your company if he doesn't comply. Third, list all the reasons you think I should consider staying married to you. Finally, call Miranda and tell her you're cutting off all contact with her. This is a deal break. If I ever hear Miranda says again, I'm out. Do you understand what I'm asking? If you want us to possibly stay together, yes, dear, I think so. I'll do everything and be ready by 7. Good, I'll see you at 7. Jeff picked up his suitcase and left. Darlene started at the bottom of her list. She rehearsed what she would say to Miranda. Taking your advice was the worst decision I ever made. You almost cost me everything dear to me. Don't call, text, email, or even think about me. If you see me out, leave, or I can't promise I won't react. Darlene was surprised at how much better she felt after standing up to Miranda. Next, she called Robert and repeated Jeff's instructions to him. She loathed hearing Robert's pleas for one last rendezvous at the motel, his insults and insinuations that she was a lousy lover. She shut him down by threatening that her husband would reach out to his wife if he didn't back off. The task she dreaded most turned out to be the easiest, listing reasons why Jeff should stay in the marriage. No longer yearning for more than what she had with Jeff, she reflected on all their shared happiness. Darlene managed to put together a substantial list. This has to impress Jeff, she thought. She had no difficulty in begging him for forgiveness for the divorce idea. How silly, self-centered and presumptuous I've been. Never again, she vowed. By the time Darlene was prepared and feeling hopeful, she became slightly nervous when 7 o'clock arrived and Jeff was not there. 5 minutes later, he walked in, minus his luggage. Darlene saw that his face was the same as when he had left earlier that day. She tried to present her responses as tenderly and humbly as possible. Here are my answers. I hope they change your mind, Darlene offered. Jeff took a long time looking over the list, and as he read, he started to cry. Tears streamed down Darlene's face as she observed him crying, interpreting his tears as a glimmer of hope. This is impressive, Dar, he said. Her heart surged with potential joy, and she rose to hug him, but he signaled for her to sit again. What you've put together is positive, but I don't think you fully understand how deeply you've hurt me. I'm afraid we still need to go through with the divorce, Jeff announced. Darlene's heart felt like it had splintered into pieces, and she crumbled to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably, sinking into a grief she had never felt before. Amidst her anguish, she exclaimed, I've ruined the lives of my family. I'm the worst person there is. I don't deserve to be alive. How could I have been so blind? Jeff knelt down beside her and whispered, Now you see my pain. As Darlene remained on the floor in tears, he walked toward the door, stopped, and turned to look at her. We're allowed to date other people while we're separated, correct? He queried. His wife tried to gather herself to answer, but her sobs were relentless. Okay, if we're allowed to see other people, what's your plan for this Friday night? How about we go for dinner and a movie? He proposed. Are you asking me on a date? Darlene barely uttered. Yes, I think we've totally messed up what we had, but perhaps there's a chance to start over. Jeff replied. Darlene stood up and rushed to Jeff. Yes, 1,000 times yes, she burst out. If you were in her husband's position, Would you be willing to give the relationship another shot? Post your opinion in the comments. See you in the next video.